Hey everybody, it's Bodacious11 or Bo the Potato, back here just diving into another one of these videos because I'm having fun making them. They're pretty short and my quality is admittedly kind of low, so uh, yeah, hopefully somebody out there can get some enjoyment, and as it gets traction I will certainly get better at making the videos, but I'm just making sure I get myself out there right now. Alright, so we're headed into the Sifu story. We're looking at, again, warning for spoilers. There are those in this video for sure. We're looking at the Sifu story for Kuroki. This is the artist and, typo. See what happens when I move too quickly between videos. Um, and the museum is where we are. So Kuroki's story, I think, is one of the most compelling ones of the characters because it's not, an obvious, straightforward revenge story um, from her side of things, and we don't really know what happens with her dad. We don't know about Kuroki's sister, um, and she's one of the few who seems to have entirely given up the life of violence. She says as much, and we hear a lot in her character development that I think indicates Kuroki has the most conflict of the new group of the Alchemists. Let me pop in and make sure that you guys have this board up for my reminder here. Um, so this is, so we're looking at the third row down there. I can't believe, I guess I probably should have put the Alchemist first there. But we're looking at the water. So what the symbol element is for the character and what my interpretation is, water and water. Obviously, as you can hear in the background right now, the rain sound going down at the museum from the waterfall. The animal is crane, associated with water as well. Wisdom, I think, may align with Kuroki, not fighting and being more peaceful now. She has the ability to kind of change her environment, a lot like all the bosses do. But hers also changes her outfit, her makeup. And very uniquely, when Kuroki changes into her second form, you hear her say, she should have you should have run when she gave you the chance, or something like that. Or essentially, one might believe that it's now Kuroki's sister that you're fighting, and that Kuroki wanted to let you go. What? What is she doing? Creepy.
I know 100 ways to kill you. You should have run when she gave you the chance.
I think there's something to it. I think there's a little bit of mystery behind why, if it's revenge, betrayal, some connectedness on the twins front. So something's going on there. Again, we don't know who was the member. So I showed this in my last video about Sean and the Guardians, Sean's father and the Guardians. So we do know that the rightmost character there is Sean's father. The second from the right, I believe, is our kind of Sifu dad character that I'm referring to, and we don't know who the other two are. Um, so I did this a little bit in the last video, and I'll do it one more here. So if we try to zoom in and look a little more closely at those two characters, I, let's like take a look at the board over here. So if we go to our character board and we start looking at the information for the museum down low, this immediately takes me to the picture of Kuroki's father. So we know Kuroki had a twin. That must be why she's so obsessed with her own image. Something terrible seems to have happened at some point in her life. So the scratching out of the dad makes me think that there was some sort of like abuse, something painful here. Notice he's got the symbols on both sides, so the daughters are dressed in opposite colors. Um, we know Kuroki starts in white, I think, and then goes all black with the white makeup when she changes forms. Um, so maybe that would say that this is Kuroki here in the white. Oh, I'm sorry, you probably can't see this right now. Um, I think this might be Kuroki in the white. There we go. The dad scratched out up top. Kuroki in the white, and her twin, who I refer to as Kuroki's twin, KT, over on the left. Now, if we look back, I can't quite tell if I'm looking up you know, at his hairline, if that might be the same person that we have on the Guardians board. He doesn't seem to have the hair spikes out to the side, so I don't know. I can't tell um, if their father was, or Kuroki's twin was a member of the Guardians. I'm guessing Kuroki's twin was too young to be a member of the Guardians based off what we know. But again, that's just as much as I have been able to interpret here. Um, Another thing I want to mention real quick while I have this board up is that I fully believe that Kuroki is brainwashing the people that um, come through her museum, essentially her employees, and has some sort of process for doing this. Um, so as we look at that, let's touch on a couple of things on her board, and then I'll bring up the items that come to mind for me. Some of them, like this little Absolver Easter egg, nothing too crazy there. Um, got the code to get to Sean's disciples. Doorways, nothing too major. Um, this is interesting. Permanent exhibition cycle. Go on a deep and thoughtful visit through the cycle to seek and embrace your own patterns in these works of art. So there's some sort of repetition in Kuroki's themes. We also see identity as one of hers. Embark on a journey with an artist who wants to express, explore, and question the concept of identity and what it means to them in today's ever-changing world. More ties to, I think, the twin and their possible conflation between the two of them. We know the museum is nice, high class, well financed. We know it's financed by Jin Feng, and I think maybe some of the drug money coming from Fajar's operations. Tough target, yeah, we know he's a bad mofo. Um, we also see this one. Encountered several disciples from Sean's school here. They still help each other, surely because Yang asked them to. So I think that, again, I kind of talked about this last time. I think we have a process where they are found by Fajar or identified, trained by Sean, and then brainwashed by Kuroki before being refined by Feng and ultimately sent to serve Yang at the sanctuary. So let's see, what else we got? Talked about this photo here. I'm going to bring it up again just because I had it covered most of the time. I'll flip back on that Guardians board. I just don't think they're quite the same guy. And again, the other thing that's important to know when we are comparing these characters, maybe not important to know, but might give us a hint, is that we know that Kuroki is Japanese, where most of the other characters and their fighting styles, of course, are Chinese, as where Kung Fu originates from. Um, let's see, another temporary exhibit, Flood, more water themes with Kuroki. Here we go. This is the one that touches on Kuroki's past. So the New Wave magazine, volume 156, the art event here. Kuroki's past is hard to investigate. All I know is that she is Japanese, and rumors tie her to the underworld. Underworld world. I just read that. Little typo. Underworld world. Something must have happened to force her into exile here in China. Now she runs an art museum. She works there day and night on her most ambitious exhibition to date. So I think this is kind of interesting. Remember, Fajar was sick and wasn't able to really leave where he was taking care of the drugs and dealing with the manufacturer there. But Kuroki here also seems to be almost permanently at the museum. And she is also, we know Fajar is sick, but Kuroki is the one, again, who's non-violent. So I'm wondering, like, maybe Yang kind of keeps her here, or maybe there's a reason they don't want her to leave the museum. Trying to figure out more about that. You know, um, what is behind Kuroki's motivation and her attitude. The workshop we're going to go into in just a minute, and we're going to talk about what's there after I go over the items that I have on my list. Museum guide here, again, we see cycle, identity, and flood. I'm trying to think. Cycle, something repetitious. There's something Kuroki was maybe trying to break. An identity struggle with her twin, perhaps, and the flood being the rain of things that happened afterwards. Um, Again, I'm really just doing my best to try to interpret that. These statues, I think, are frustrating because I still am not very good at defending myself from those kick ladies. Um, you know, I think that's a lot of the big stuff here for Kuroki and the museum. Jin Feng had the key to it. Again, another thing that I think is interesting. We also know that Kuroki's museum is heavily funded by Jin Feng, meaning Jin Feng still So even if Kuroki doesn't want to be a part of Yang's whole thing and she's not a part of the violence and isn't interested anymore, Jen Feng may have like a soft spot for or still wants to support Kuroki, because Jen Feng is funding both the sanctuary and Kuroki's museum. We don't know who owns the club that Sean kind of runs, but you know, I feel like there's obviously some connection throughout the game here. So let's go forward a little bit more. I'm just gonna pretty much run it up to the top of the museum so we can go into
Eyes
Kuroki's
on the target in
office
the
and
atrium.
take a little bit of a look
Everyone get
at
into
it up
position.
there. Hopefully this will.
It was
Oh, I guess
foolish of
we're
you to
almost
come
there on
here.
time for the video. I don't need to. I don't need to necessarily do it while you guys are watching here. But who knows? It might be fun.
Not so tough after all.
Yeah. Cool. Should have done better than that. That was really sloppy. All right. But yeah, we're just gonna head up there because I'm already doing it, and no point to not doing it. What else to say about this museum? Beautiful, more water themes. I think it's interesting. So also, if you look up the museum, might as well take time to do this. Notice you dive out and run into this. So her exhibit is somehow floating up above and is not visible. So there's definitely something like, I don't know, magic-esque going on with Kuroki. Just like the rest of the fighters. Her color changing of her outfit, yeah, that instant change, I think is just very interesting.
Any regrets now?
Whoa! I did not see that at all. How is he pulling that off so quick? Jeez.
Nerves get the better of you?
What? That is not what I expected to happen. I am sorry, guys. So usually I'm a little more smooth than that. Come over here.
Target here!
Alright, drop down. Back here. Because yeah, this is an interesting little spot. Again, I think I forgot to show the secret room on the Sean's one, just because it's the computer guy. I know I talked about him. But up here on the, what is it, third, fourth floor, we get a chance to go into the exhibit. Staff only. Yeah, it's up there. I'm pretty sure it's fourth floor, so I'm just going to go straight to the top. If not, I can run back down to the third floor if I remember. But Kuroki, and actually this is probably a great spot to do my my little segue, or character info screen. So, what we know about Kuroki. So Kuroki, the artist, is she kind of like lives in lives in the museum there day and night. We don't know for certain if she's there on her own terms or not, or if maybe she's being kind of held there. Um, Her theme is water. She teaches flow, careful timing. Patience was a huge theme for me going against Kuroki. Um, but she also seems to be dealing with a lot of grief, pain, anguish, rage. The shifting imagery, the depiction of Kuroki herself changing, I think is interesting and kind of speaks to the mixed personality thing, maybe. Ooh, excuse me. So let's see. Some of the things that are said as you're going through the museum. One of the guards says that Kuroki has long since abandoned the life of violence. There's also narration. This again feeds into the fact that she's not on board with what she did. I wonder if maybe Kuroki's twin was even the one who was a part of the whole murderous event, and Kuroki then killed her after and took over and said she wasn't going to be violent. Yeah, who knows? Um, okay, again, back to narration. So Kuroki also narrates that water cleanses physically, and I wasn't sure if the word and or the ampersand made more sense here, but it's included in both. But water cleanses physically and spiritually. Water has the power to set us free. It represents birth. and cleansing of a darkened soul. So, interesting quote there that I forgot to close the quote on. Oh wait, maybe I did it later. Water is the key to being reborn. It is reductive in nature. Uh, like the darkness itself, we must first embrace it, or the shadows of the past consume us whole. Uh, Narration continues, the mind is like an iceberg with 1/7 of the consciousness above water. Our consciousness is the tip. We must dive beneath the surface to face the past. Kuroki appears, in my eyes, that says something about, again, there being something below the surface, her connected to her twin still, her having some sort of connection or knowledge of what's going on, maybe past lives or something, or even the Guardians, depending on her position there. Again, when we come back up to kind of my Sifu table that I've been building here, I can't say for absolute certain who the prior Guardians all were. We know Sifu Dad and Kuroki and Sean's father were in there. Jen Feng, I believe, was a part of it. She signed the Guardians tab, so we have to think that she's on there with a scroll. But I don't know, was that Kuroki's father? How was they related? Again, if Kuroki's father is Japanese and connected to the mob, why would he be one of the trusted Guardians of the Talisman? So lots of questions. But I do think it's possible that Kuroki here is brainwashing people with all of her talk about the consciousness and understanding or whatever. Like her role, if you will, in Yang's crew is to brainwash people and get them ready to move on to service of Jen Feng at in the corporation or the corporate offices. All right, so back on floor 4 now. Thank you for your patience as I walked all the way up here. I'm gonna cut across, and this is. Oh wait, no, that's the staircase. Where the freak is the staircase to the exhibit? Is it here? Oh yeah, there we go. It's not an elevator. Okay, so here we are. We're in Kuroki's office here. Um, so interesting little like Russian nesting dolls here that we've seen. Those were, I think, part of the identity exhibit. Paint brushes, maybe a watchful eye here. I actually wondered, do you think this represents a character or anybody watching her? Maybe Sean's anger, because the plant would probably represent Fajar. And who is on her desk? So again, this kind of stuff, I want to try to figure out what she's looking at, what she's thinking about. Is she looking at talisman info? Is that how to put on a toilet paper roll? I can't quite tell, but these are the things, like I said, I want to know. Faces, many emotions. Again, very interesting here. This is another Kuroki with a distorted face with water on it, so she definitely has a thing with identity. Her kick girls up here. And what else? Another one, water face. And this is, of course, the most fascinating. So we've got, this is the picture that I'm sure we have here. We have a broken shuriken. Forgive me if that's not the right term. And then we have this picture of what I presume is Kuroki holding her twin. Now, I am not absolutely certain if it's her killing her twin or if it's her supporting her and they're both fighting together. We don't really know what the story is. There's one gentleman, I think, one person on Reddit I know for sure that did a great little story writing about maybe potentially what Kuroki's backstory could have been in a creative writing piece. But yeah, so neat one. These are getting a little bit deeper. I find them really, really fascinating. So I think this will wrap this video up. Thanks so much. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying these. Would love your comments and input about what's going on. And after this, I will probably move over to doing one of the Bo's Dojo's live streams, because that sounds like a fun thing to do. Alright, take care, y'all. Thanks.